Survive, know the one more time. things you do in your room when you're all alone. 3, 4, you want mom or whatever cure that was. 5, 6, finding bliss when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. 7, 8, feeling brave but you never really play this game. 9, 10, feels like heaven, you're crying cause you wanna stay. Quick fix, finding bliss when you feel the heartbeat inside. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Me too, I'm just like you and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips, selling sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes I feel magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, and I'm getting high. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? One, two, the things you do in your room when you're all alone. In your room when you're all alone. 3, 4, you want mom or whatever cure that was. Or whatever cure that was. 5, 6, finding bliss when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. When you're drunk, 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 or you're doing drugs. Do you don't believe in magic?
Ibland känner jag magin, men jag lyckas ändå fucka upp.
Me too, I'm just like you and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips and sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes I feel magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, get drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic?
It used to be luck. You used to be funny. We used to have time. Time without money. We used to feel bad. We used to look sad. We used to have luck. And time without money. Me feeling like a firebolt high in the sky, looking like a thunderstorm. Oh, here we go, 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 go. You're easy to remember, so hard to forget. Baby, it's a coward way you strut. Well, how could I not worship every inch your feet have touched? Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. There's no more clouds on the freeway. Now tell me you'll stay. Gonna now and last someday. Here we go, go, go. Rose bed, fancy hotels, girl, you know. Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. And we'll stay in bed all day. Make love in every way. Baby, run away with me. You kill the lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. Oh, baby, run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. You make my heart believe.
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinions how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike, you have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the show. Here we are again. We're having a great time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna do some debate prep for the debate tonight, and also for the debate Wednesday night, which the Wednesday night is when it matters. We got some new stuff to talk about. A lot of nonsense and craziness going on out there. We're going to talk about that really quickly, and we got a lot to do. Got a lot to cover. So let me just jump right into it. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, this stream, as you will hear several times throughout, is supported by my wallet. And, at some point, this show needs to start making money and not costing me money. And it would be nice if it could do that. If you can, feel free to support the show in the form of super chats, memberships, whatever. Doesn't matter. If you can, and if you're not, don't worry about it. It's cool. It'll be okay. I don't want to take anybody's last dollar. Never want to be known for that. Let's see who we have in the house, because it's important to recognize everyone. All right, so let's see. Sweet Auntie was number one in the house tonight. That is, or this morning. This is great. Sweet Auntie says she benefits from DEI, but she thinks it's a joke and ruining corporations' growth prospects. That is great. We're gonna make that happen. Damien, our local parkour guy. Again, guys, if you haven't checked out his channel, it's really good. You should go do that. Chairman of the board, Anson Knowles, is in. He is board, and he is the chairman. Tiki Tack is obviously in the house. Good to see him, along with our car Oak and Smoking Spaceman. 13 is in the house. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. I actually need to send you a message later. I will remind myself to do so. And let's see who else we got out there. Got some people out there. That is for sure. It is great. WMD is in the house, guys. WMD this week is defining itself as a woman of mass distraction. And there you go. Agropolis is in the house. Good to see you. Absolutely a pleasure to see all of you folks out there today. And looks like we got some grift rolling in. Agropolis sends in $4.99. Doesn't say anything. Just throws out a salute. Eric R. Oak, I will show the meme. And Tiki Tack, I'm not sure what emoji this is. But that's okay. It's a cool emoji. Good to see everybody. Good to see you. Mr. has made it in the house as well. Good to see all of you guys. Is that the pregnant man? Yes, for DEI, apparently men can't get pregnant, or men need paternity leave under DEI. We're going to get into that. It's going to be great. First thing we'll launch into today is the first female black congressperson, Mia Love, has passed. She died of cancer, which is terrible. And she'd actually been sick for a while, and just the last few weeks, her body just has not been able to fight off the drugs that they were giving, the medications, the treatments were no longer having an effect. And she passed quietly, according to her family, in the hospital, surrounded by her family and loved ones. She's interesting because she was a daughter of Haitian immigrants. That's interesting in and of itself. She made history in 2014 when she became the nation's first Republican black woman elected to Congress as the U.S. representative for Utah, I believe. Yes, Utah 4th District. 2 terms between 2015 and 2019. And the only reason that she's actually technically famous, other than being black and having the good fortune to be elected to Congress, is that she criticized Trump. She was on Trump's side in the first election until the Access Hollywood grab him by the pussy comment came out. And after that, she said she came out. She said wasn't going to vote for him, and then she clashed with him on the child separation policy at the border, which was actually an Obama policy, not a Trump policy, which is very interesting to have the. Now, obviously, this is all being reported by leftist media, and they are slanting it that obviously it was Trump's fault that was happening. So kind of became a critic of Trump. And then after she left Congress, she was a political contributor for CNN and The View. I believe she was a guest co-host, or maybe she just came on there every so often. I'm not really sure. I don't watch The View. The and so that's interesting. It's interesting, and unfortunately, she did pass. We've got fairly young in life, but it's proof positive that you can come from legal immigrants and grow up and be a congressperson and be a politician. There you go. And obviously, she clashed with Trump. And also, she was voted out in 2018. She was voted out in 2018 most likely because she clashed with Trump. You know, you don't go against the guy who put everybody back in a good frame of mind and come out unscathed. I think that was a very poor political decision on her part. Not really sure she was a good politician. Probably a good campaigner, but not a good politician. Another article that ran today, and I'm not really sure where this article originated. I saw it in my internet feed, in my news feed. It was written by, and I can't pronounce the name. It's an Arabic name. I'm not going to try even attempt to butcher it. And the idea is that how possible is it for, because I didn't copy the title, how possible is it for someone to grow up poor and gain wealth throughout their life? And it kind of goes on that classic promise to America of the American dream is that no matter how you grow up, no matter where you grow up, no matter who your parents are, no matter how poor you are as a kid, you still have a path to financial stability, at least in the United States, as long as you work hard. The premise of this flies in the face of everything the left is saying now, where you hear all of these people, well, no, I can't own a house. Nobody can own a house. You can't barely own a car. Jobs are scarce, all that kind of thing. It kind of flies in the face of that. And, but does draw some contrast. A poor kid in Germany, Denmark, European country, socialist European country, actually has a greater chance of becoming at least medium, of potentially surpassing their parents' wealth status or escaping poverty in adulthood than an American kid. And the article does not prescribe to the typical leftist viewpoints and key points of, this can't get ahead, can't get a job, you can't get an education, everything sucks. And this is important because this just kind of came up as in part of my research for DEI. And I thought it was an interesting article. I want to share it with you guys. I'm going to try and read some, it basically says, or the United Kingdom, which the United Kingdom is false. That's absolutely false. But to read from it, it says, obviously, that's not because Americans aren't willing to work hard. Many studies have shown just how big a role your early years, things like the quality of the school you have attended, the safety of your childhood neighborhood, and the social networks you had access to as a kid play in your future economic outcomes. I'm going to sidebar here for a second. The real reason that a child in Denmark, a child in the UK, and a child in Germany would have, the key point is that they're very segregated. They're not integrated. Okay? They don't have a DEI mandate. They don't. And so they don't have all of this garbage. Now, sure, they're socialist, right? And they push socialist propaganda and that sort of thing, and that's fine. But the kids' friends group all look like them and all talk like them, and they all move in the same direction, which is either very positive or very negative, right? Either you become someone worth knowing or you become a criminal. In America, what we've done is we're trying to dumb down everybody to the lowest possible denominator, and that is why this is a problem. And again, your neighborhood, your childhood neighborhood, if you live in a safe neighborhood, that's true. That's all of these things are true. The social networks you have access to play a part future economic incomes. Absolutely, sure it does. So the hope has been by focusing social programs on reducing childhood poverty, we can reduce adult poverty in the long term. The two things are not correlated, and they keep trying to correlate them. They don't. A lot of people who grow up very, very wealthy end up their kids end up very, very poor, and nobody wants to talk about that. Anyway, but while directing government resources towards reducing child poverty is crucial, childhood poverty alone doesn't explain why poverty is so much more likely to follow you through life in the U.S. than it is peer countries. We don't have any peer countries. That's a problem. This is absolutely garbage. This is the worst type of relating thing or correlating, but I digress. A recent study underscores one major factor that makes poor American kids so likely to stay poor, and is strikingly simple. It's not just that the U.S. government doesn't provide kids with enough support, but that adults are also in need of a much more generous social safety net. So what he's basically saying, and by the way, the name of the article is "One Reason It's Harder to Escape Poverty in America." The story is by Abdallah, not Abdullah, Abdallah Fayyad. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. Anyway, and he draws some pretty decent conclusions here, but his premise, I think, is wrong, right? He tries to assert that the UK, or pardon me, that the U.S. prides itself on being a place where there's a lot of upward mobility. I don't think that's true anymore. I think that we've become a nation of crabs, keeping the ones that want to succeed at the bottom. We're going to get into that in just a minute. We're going to get into that particular issue here when we get into DEI. So, focusing on childhood in and of itself is very interesting. It's a good article. You should read it. It's again, I gave you the title there. I can probably link it. But anyway, I found it in one place. I also see that it's on MSN, and it may be in some other places too. But at any rate, sorry, I'm blowing up here this morning for some reason. Give me 1 second. Apologies. Never a dull moment for me. No rest for the wicked. All of the normal, things. So, at any rate, how's everybody doing this morning? I just kind of launched right into everything. So, just kind of leapt right into it. All right. So, Russia, WMD is a Russian agent. No, it would be, I'm not getting paid if that is. Good morning, Lord of Pies. Mr. I'm assuming commenting on the passages that I was reading. Let me back over there to that. Where? Says it is antithetical to true integration. The first mention of Anglo-Saxon in 1964 by Bigley, who was a socialist segregationist. Interesting. So what is DEI? All right, hold on. Let me swing back. All right, guys. So Let me read you the debate prompt for tonight. This is, you know, as always, I tell you that these debate prompts are garbage. This one is no different. Are you ready? Taking notes? Standing by? All right, here we go. The topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, policies has been the subject of hot debate in recent years. So much so that eliminating them in government was a campaign pledge by the current Republican president. He can't bring himself to say Trump. It's weird. As framed by conservatives, part of the issue with DEI policies is that they distort the hiring and firing process. This can result in underqualified individuals being hired just because they fall into a protected category. So, along those lines, calling someone a DEI hire is seen as an insult. You're damn right it is, and as it should be. But there have been many on the left that have pushed back on this framing and claim that DEI simply redresses past and present discrimination by allowing candidates who might be looked over to have a shot. Where do you fall on this debate? I think we all know. Do DEI policies undermine the ability for employers to hire the best candidates? It's right there in the name. Absolutely does. Is President Trump making the government and big business run more efficiently by encouraging the purging of these practices? Yes. Or are we simply reinstating the centuries-old status quo of ignoring qualified individuals because of their minority status? What? People used to only get a position because they could do the job. Now we have government telling you that you have to hire people. Now we have he throws up some stuff from Nick Wright on X, and he's talking about mostly he's talking about Jackie Robinson as a DEI hire. I don't know that I agree with Nick Wright on this. I don't know that Robinson was a DEI hire. Certainly, he was a gifted sports athlete guy and an all-around good American. Was he hired in place of somebody that could have done the job better? I don't know. I think Robinson got there on his own merit. So let's start out here and give you I'll give you my position. You guys, you're gonna have to type in the chat unless somebody wants to come up, because I'm gonna try and pay attention to the chat, but I got obviously got some stuff going on here. So it's gonna be good. All right, so here's where I'm at. DEI is nothing more than a rebooted affirmative action. We got rid of affirmative action because it was proven that it did not help, and that that through affirmative action, good people who were qualified for the job were being passed over because of policy instead of meritocracy. $5 comes in from Mr. Boulay at the Department of Numismatics. Grid 1 sporting the Magnum PI look today. Where's Higgins? I don't know where Higgins is. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, I'm definitely channeling my my inner Magnum today. I like where your head's at. That's good. So, how many people, we can do ones in chat or however you want to say it, how many people remember affirmative action, and were you ever passed over for a job or a promotion because of affirmative action? For those of you guys that don't remember what affirmative action was, affirmative action, and listen, and it's very interesting, affirmative action the idea of affirmative action was to right the wrongs, to address systemic inequalities that focused on creating an inclusive environment, or pardon me, um, p- part, affirmative action aimed to address the systemic, whatever that means, inequalities, specifically targeting underrepresented groups in hiring and education. Okay. DEI focus on creating an inclusive environment for all. Hold on. And stems from its mandate to ensure equal access to education and protect civil rights, including addressing racial and economic inequality. It's DEI is nothing but rebooted, cleaned up, and reformatted affirmative action. We got rid of affirmative action, right? Like we voted that shit out. Wait a couple of years and here comes DEI. It's the same thing. And we need to get rid of it again. Now the insidious part of DEI is because they literally chose to put it in very specific context. It's actually more evil than affirmative action. DEI means that where you couldn't before get rid of someone based on their race, color, or creed, right? And sex. You couldn't, affirmative action also dealt with women. Now, DEI puts in protections for gender, social, um, what's the word I'm looking for here? Social, hang on, let me look this up because it's right there. What social equality. It's the inequality between, if you have 10 white people and 5 black people, then you'd have to fire some of the white people and hire more black people so you're equal. It's social equality, right? Well, you guys are going too fast. Chairman of the board, Anson Knowles, affirmative action still exists in the government. I was denied an internship because they only took folks with thicker lips and darker skin. I didn't think there were people with thicker lips and darker skin than you, but okay, we'll go with it. DI was never a policy in any state or federal government that was also passed down to corporations. I think affirmative action was a law at some point. Yeah, DI I think is it a law? It's not a law, it's a policy. It is a policy. It's a framework, if you will. So you guys are going like crazy. Yeah, DI is an educational framework that teaches people. No, that is not. That's not it, Lord of Pies. Yeah, right, Smoke. That's awesome. And once again, this prompt is a load of BS, a load of stinking BS. Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, it does create. I mean, I will agree with you here. Because of the DI framework, it creates both official and unofficial policies for hiring and dealing with people, for sure, absolutely. When he was hiring manager at a bank, HR would give me 3 resumes and all 3 of them would be black. This is living in a city with about a 9% black population. I'm pretty sure that was affirmative action. Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely. Sweet Aunt T, if you want to come up, mods, get Sweet Aunt T the link, please. Mods, get Sweet Aunt T the link. The majority of supervisors that held me back were women. They hated merit workers because they saw them as competition. I work blue collar now to stay away from female office workers. That's probably based and smart. I missed something Ticky Tack said. Where did Ticky Tack's comment? Mr. Boulet's TTS was awesome. All right, maybe Angel Berbers has worked with and counseled. Oh yeah, no, he's talking about a way earlier conversation. All right. Wow. The board chairman. Yeah, that's good. Everybody go to and subscribe to Anson Knowles so he can tell you good stuff. You think DI was to avoid litigation? See, I'm on the opposite side of it. I think it's exactly to enable litigation. Wow, you guys are rolling. Yeah, avoid people from getting fired claiming it was due to discrimination. Maybe that's true. I don't know. Hiring quotas still exist. I believe that, especially in government offices, I think. (1965) Civil Rights Act that gives people their protections. DI doesn't give them anything. It's also the Americans with Disability Acts. DI does not. Probably so. Probably so. What's up, Viking Paradigm? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. We're doing some debate prep for DEI. You didn't have anything to say? Okay. Wow, you guys are rolling. Wow, you guys are rolling. I can't keep up. All right, so let's see. DI is just women in HR complaining that what they think is just not happening. Okay, probably. All right, so affirmative action actually was a law. And DEI efforts are broader in scope. Let's see. DEI involves a wide range of initiatives, including training programs, mentorship programs. Crap, I gotta grab this, guys. I'm sorry. Give me 1 sec. Apologies. That was a contractor for a job that I have going on in Ohio. I had to take that call really quickly. So the focus DI creates an inclusive environment for all employees and members of an organization, regardless of background or identity. Goal is to foster a sense of belonging and ensure that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. I think that's bullshit. Methods involve a wide range of initiative, including training programs, mentorship programs, and policies that promote diversity and inclusion. Example, a company might implement a policy that prohibits discrimination based on gender identity or sexual orientation, or it might offer training on an unconscious bias. DEI has its roots in the 1960s. Civil rights movement has grown to include gender, sexual orientation, religion, country of origin, and other identities. So whatever identify as, you have to accept it under DEI. And DEI is broader in scope than affirmative action programs. Okay, good. Got that. All right. So arguments for DEI. Can't think of any. Yeah, Lord of Pies can come up. Sweet Auntie can come up. Either or both can come up. All right. So arguments against DEI. Yeah, see, that's what I think, Lord of Pies. Arguments against DEI, reverse discrimination, right? And meritocracy. So the argument is that DEI leads to reverse discrimination where people are hired on their demographic or social characteristics rather than merit. Obviously, that's true. This leads to resentment and concern in the workplace, and it leads to hiring unqualified people. Therefore, that's bad. This is pretty easily demonstrated with the Boeing incident. Whether or not the people that were hired as DEI hires, whether or not they were at fault for the door flying off of that jetliner in flight, they got blamed for it because they were DEI hires. So obviously, that's resentment and division within the workplace. DEI definitely undermines, or however you want to put it, the principle of meritocracy. So therefore, you can't. It disincentivizes people to work harder, right? Am I right about that? Let's see. DEI. It wasn't that they didn't lock them; they didn't torque them properly. Ticky tack. That was a problem. They didn't. So the thing with the Boeing doors is that when it left Boeing, they claim that their DEI hires properly fastened all the fasteners initially. When it got to the airline where they fitted it out with seats and everything and configured it, they say that they assumed that the doors were tight and they never loosened or tightened them, so that if they were loose, they had to have been loosened at Boeing. Boeing put the blame on the airline put the blame on Boeing. DEI hires on both sides. Who knows which DEI hires fucked up, but one of them fucked up for sure. So anyway, all right. So yeah, definitely divisive, even amongst the groups themselves, right? Because who's the DEI champion, right? Okay. Am I right about that? You guys got to keep up. You got to help me out here. DEI. Who's the DEI champion? You're bowing out. Won't add. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, don't debate racism. Racism's stupid. So DEI is divisive. Let's see. They're a waste of resources because to enforce or to institute the DEI policies, you then have to hire people to institute and control and regulate the DEI policies that you hired. And those people are likely DEI hires. And so you end up with a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing, leading a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. and unless you're the military, that doesn't work. So focus on identity over skills. Sure, I agree with that. Obviously, if you have two people that are equally qualified for the job and you hire one with less experience but the right qualifications, because he is a black Ugandan versus a white Alabamian, but the white Alabamian has a decade of experience, but you hire the Ugandan because of your social credit score, that's probably bad. So and let's see. I do believe that it lowers standards as well. I do believe that it lowers standards as well. I hate to ask you. I guess I'll Google foo this shit up. Does anybody have any like data that supports what I'm saying? You told Sam Cedar DEI isn't affirmative action. DEI is a mindset where instead of seeing you as another person, I have to see you as Jewish, as a Jewish person first. I have to be mindful of your. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. But I see the thing is that which part do you call them? What if they're a Jewish poor kid from South Chicago? Do you first see him as a poor kid? Do you first see him as from Chicago, or do you have to see him from Jewish? So this is actually probably the most effective thing. At the end of the day, and I'm going to close out my opening with this. At the end of the day, we have actual laws that have teeth, that have that companies have company leaders have gone to jail over. We have actual policy to prevent discrimination and basically anything but meritocracy in the workplace. Why are we messing with that? Tiki Tack has the good keys. He can get in if he wants, or he did have them. Yeah, I like this. I like this. You can call yourself progressive, liberal, woke, or socialist, but at the end of the day, you're nothing more than a communist. Sure, I agree with that. Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question, Lord of Pies. That actually, I actually agree with that. That's a position that I would take. Why do we even need it? Why do we have it? It's not helping. Okay, thanks, Tiki Tack. Appreciate that. My focus is off on my camera. I must have bumped it or something. I don't know. I'll deal with it in a minute. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It is fine. Yeah, this is a kind of stupidness. If you run a business and you're a black guy and you show me how you can save me $2 million a year, and I'm not going to hire you because you're black, what? That's crazy talk. Nobody does that, right? I mean, if somebody does do that, that's insanity, man. That is literally crazy. That's the kind of crazy that like I can't even get to that point of crazy. Like how does anybody get there? Yeah. Yeah, so here's the thing though. I will say that Sweet On Tea has a point here, that I think that has been, this is a result. If you wait, that's the wrong one. Where is it? I just had it. There it is. If it was a woman, I don't care how much you can save me because you're a walking lawsuit. It could be. That could be. You know, it could very well be that I'm going, you know, that as a as a business owner that I may be very careful and cautious about women that I might hire because it could very well could cost me more in the end to have you than to not have you. How about this? Do you think that if you have a requirement, or not a requirement, if it becomes policy that you only hire, that for every white person you hire, you have to hire a person of color, and because all of the people that apply for your position are Asian, do you think that at some point another group is going to get pissed at you and have something to say about it? Yeah. Show the timeline. You just looked it up. 1970 is affirmative action. 1980s initiatives on workplace training changes. 2010s is when the policy started under Obama. I believe that 100%. So, all right. So my opening statement's going to go a lot, and I'll work on this a little more later. My opening statement's going to be, I don't even understand why we have DEI. DEI is a train wreck. And realistically, why do we need DEI when we already have the Civil Rights Act and Equal Opportunities Employers Act and the Disabilities Act? So why do we need any of this? And if corporations are evil entities only out to exploit people for money, how is it bad? How stupid would they be? How bad as a corporation would they be if they don't hire the people that can make them the most money? Can somebody help me out with that? Because I feel like that's a pretty solid take. I said the American with Disabilities Act, yeah. So I feel like I'm going to refine that into a good opening statement. And I think the points that they're going to try and make, the problem is I don't have any documentation of specific things. I think they're going to try and I think the leftists it's going to be all feelings. Yeah. They'll guarantee that you can't trust a company to follow the laws. However, the laws are there to enforce, to be enforced against the company. So if you have a law that says you have to hire X amount of people and they don't enforce, if they don't enforce one law, why do you think they're going to enforce the second one? That's a bad argument for them to make. That's a bad argument to make. So if we already have a Civil Rights Act, we already have Americans with Disabilities Act, we already have the Equal Opportunity Act, we already have all of those things in place. So at that point, there's no company that makes money that's going to try and run afoul of those. Now they can say, well, you can't trust a company not to follow the law, but now you're saying that you're making a law. You need a law to help because the first law isn't going to be enforced. That's stupid. That's a bad argument, and I will reject that out of hand. Now, the one thing that could be, I like what Smoking Spaceman is saying here. DI and this is true. DI and this is what I'm going to claim. The reason that you want it to be policy and you want it to be laws, or leftists want these things in place, is specifically because they're backdooring socialism and leftist ideas into the workplace, and making people think that their job, their ability to work, is tied directly to the government forcing these evil corporations to comply, when that's not the truth. Yeah, that and Kevin, you're right. That's a solid point too, and I'm going to use that as well. That's a very solid point. So we're gonna, that's I like that. That's very good. Well, I think this is going to be another one of those arguments that I win in like 20 minutes, and then we're going to go back and forth for like 20 minutes, and then we'll sit there the rest of the time and argue about some stupid shit because they just don't want to lose. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's exactly what happened last week, guys. I won early. They couldn't do anything about what I said, and then they just moved on. They're like, let's do something else. Right? Yeah. Play the frog in the blender. I definitely play the frog in the blender. Look at him go. Look at that. Round and round he goes. How do you boil a frog? How do you boil a frog? How do you boil a frog? All right. So now the next argument, the next debate that I have is Wednesday. That is going to be with Average Debate Enjoyer. Now, this will be a real debate. By the way, I also want to talk about the debate with Ticky Tack and Furby last night. I just don't know that I was hoping Ticky Tack could come up. I've got some observations on that debate, and I'd really like to discuss it with somebody. So if somebody wants to come up, that would be great. If not, that's fine too. I have no problem, being that guy that carries the whole thing. So, okay. So yeah, let's get into that. You can jump in all right. I can wait 10 minutes. I got some other stuff to talk about. So with Average Debate Enjoyer, we're going to be debating isolationism versus interventionalism. Now, by choosing interventionalism, he's de facto forced me to take non-interventionalism as my position, because rather than being isolationist versus globalist, which would be the actual reverse of each other, are opposites of each other, or whatever. Instead of doing that, he has instead chosen to, basically, put me out there. He's got me. He's got me going on. So, so that's going to be kind of what that's going to be kind of what we got going on. And let me read I think he hasn't seen, he was supposed to send me a bunch of stuff. Let me I need to, because he's supposed to give me a bunch of information. Anyway, so I'm going to be watching his debate with both. I'm going to be watching his debate with both Rob Noor and Fabian Liberty to see his points, the points that he is making. Now, he has refined his argument down, and so I'm watching both of those debates. and we're going to have a great time. Now, the actual I'm not really sure what his actual debate is as far as isolationism. I'm going to say that, or pardon, interventionalism. I'm going to find out. But my point. Yeah, it got froze out. I understand that. That's we'll talk about this in a second. I got some observations on that. But so with the Tyler average debate enjoyer, my tactic here is going to be that isolationism is the wave of the future because we have to we can no longer be the world police. If we continue the path that we're on, the United States will fall. We simply cannot continue to pour money out of the United States and just suck the wealth out of the United States and send it all over the world when none of it comes back to us, or very little of it comes back to us. I absolutely do not I do not believe in the idea or the mantra that we must project power all over the world by having fortified bases, having airstrips, having a military presence in all of these different countries. I don't believe that is required for us to be considered a superpower. I do not consider any of this to be necessary. And at the end of the day, the reality is that we have no real reason to do so anymore, and it does not benefit us in any way. Let's see. I'm gonna hang on. You guys are I'm not really sure. What we got. Yeah, so Tiki Takum. Hey, Naomi, how are you? Good to see you. The debate got frozen out because of data, but the two of them could have gone further with critical thinking skills. Mel is just worried about Mel, and the whole debate could have been ended with something. Hang on, I'm getting a message. There he is. All right, so let's see. Naomi's out on one of our horses. Okay. Yeah, our sweet auntie, we are really, really stretched thin. Haven't had sexual education all of human history. Why do we need it now? Leave it to the parents to teach our kids about sex. It's all normal versus abnormal. I agree with that, actually. Demanding a DI policy is just showing your own internal prejudice towards other people. Yes. Assuming everybody in a certain group hires a certain way. Yeah, agree with that. Look at our military. They are on so many fronts that if we were attacked, we would have a hard time getting troops to where they need to be. To some degree, that's not accurate, but it is an issue. It takes us about 70 hours in some cases to move troops or to deploy troops somewhere in the world. 70 hours is a long time. It's a long time. Welcome, Alex Moore. Good to see you. They will appeal to national narrative, but preemptive strike from assumed intel only expands your responsibility and a drain on your resources when a threat hasn't even happened yet. Yeah, see, the threat is just crazy. When I went to school, we just had health class and we talked about reproduction. Yes, that was sex ed. That was, to me, that was fine. Yeah, I agree with that. The kids giggled when we said penis, and that was about the end of it. Absolutely. Yeah, that's all pretty accurate stuff. Yeah. So, what's up, Vampire Frog? So, yeah, just really, it's been an interesting, kind of deal with the all of those different topics. I'm prepping against the DEI debate, and also I have a debate on interventionalism later in the week. I've kind of moved on and I want to review. I want to review the debate that Tiki Tack had with Furby last night. So yeah, all of those things. Would you like to hop up and we can talk about any of those subjects? I have a lot going on. a lot of angst. Yeah, sure, Vampire Frog. Somebody get him. You know what? Normally we have you go to the Discord so we can vet you, but Mr. Boulay, if you're listening, or any of the mods that are listening, Naomi, whoever, go ahead and drop the link for Vampire Frog, and then delete it out of the chat if you could. Thank you. Give it 1 second, Vampire Frog. By the way, Vampire Frog, have you seen my boiling frog thing? Lord of Flies, they taught us fallopian tubes, and you know how the whole process happens. Yeah, it's really weird. It's a lot more like, yeah. Well, I have one of the people in this will be a frog, Vampire Frog. Is the only woman in my job when they do cutbacks. Men who are more physically capable will be cut before me. That's not equity. That's favoritism. That's true. What's up, Tiki Tack? How are you, sir?
Hey, doing all right. Let's see if I can fix this camera.
The black screen of death.
Nope, it's not that one.
And we should have Vampire Frog up in a second. They just
really now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so about the debate yesterday.
Yeah, man.
I was hoping for it to be a little bit more productive, but I think Mel was under the impression that I was bringing studies that were somehow trying to counter sex education. But instead, they were all affirming sex education, and I was there to try to point out the flaws of the conclusions. So because it's like I referenced Planned Parenthood,
I heard that.
Yeah, American Academic of Pediatrics. Also, what was it? The American Journal of Clinical Medicine, something like that. And then I was also bringing up references of Department of Justice around the essay topic. And just what my observation is from like a lot of these studies that are affirming for sex education is that when they did the meta-analysis across these multiple studies, it seemed like every single study wasn't just like performing sex education programs. It was like they were also providing contraceptives. They were doing community outreach. They were doing like Habitat for Humanity, rebuilding places. So there was multiple variables involved that could have influenced, teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I know Mel was trying to spin it to say, well, this is a meta-analysis, so they're only taking the data from like sex ed. It's like, no, there isn't only data from sex ed. It's like there's multiple variables that are being introduced in order to influence the society. And what's surprising is that one of the studies, which was was focused on urban neighborhoods of Chicago. they were actually doing more cultural and religious influences across the community and less on sex ed. And there was a positive result to reduce STIs and reduce teen pregnancies. So even just as simple as getting your community more involved and just making the lives of the children just a little bit better seem to have a positive influence. So
Yeah.
you know,
I heard your arguments. Give me 1 second. I want to welcome Vampire Frog. Welcome to the show, sir.
we
Vampire
cannot
Frog.
hear you.
Am I muted or something?
Maybe his audio is low, but no, I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either. Hang on. No, I got it.
How about now?
There you go.
We hear
Oh
you.
my gosh! All right. Hi. Hello.
Hey,
Welcome.
hey, would you like to? So we have. I go against a frog tonight. Actually, probably.
Oh.
Doobie. Are you familiar with Doobie?
No.
He
No.
runs the largest political or Twitch poll Discord.
Oh, okay.
He's a weird leftist guy.
Is there like a specific topic, or is it just DI in general?
I'll read you the prompt. Now, this is a rambling piece of garbage. So, and I did not make this prompt. So, do
Hey,
not
I'm quite a piece of garbage myself.
It's a rambling piece of garbage. I did not make this prompt. All of these prompts are this way. The topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI policies, has been the subject of hot debate in recent years. So much so that eliminating them in government was a campaign pledge by the current Republican president. Sidebar, he can't say Trump. Just the way it is. As framed by conservatives, part of the issue with DEI policies is that they distort the hiring and firing process. This can result in underqualified individuals being hired just because they fall into a protected category. So along those lines, calling someone a DEI hire is seen as an insult. But there have been many on the left that have pushed back on this framing and claim that DEI simply redresses past and present discrimination by allowing candidates who might be overlooked to have a shot. Where do you fall on this debate? Do DEI policies undermine the ability for employers to hire the best candidates? Is President Trump making the government and big business run more efficiently by encouraging the purging of these practices? Or are we simply reinstating the centuries-old status quo of ignoring qualified individuals because of their minority status? That's a very presumptive last sentence. So that's the debate prompt I'm working with.
Okay, so you mentioned it being insulting. Well, the whole point of DEI is to be insulting. It's meant to hire people that basically it's
You're from
meant
the
to.
Crucible. I've talked to you before in voice chat on the Crucible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's meant to put together people that can't stand each other in order to create tension.
Mhm.
And that way you're creating a bit of chaos.
I
and
like
you're
that.
ma-
I like that.
Yeah, the whole point of it is this well-organized corporate type of agitation. It's meant to create division and stuff, and at that point you can control people better. But for example, you said insulting. Well, it's insulting in a number of ways. It's insulting to hire people that aren't as competent as the actual people doing the work. It's insulting to the competent people. It's also insulting to the less competent people because you're not giving them a proper on-ramp to actually learn how to do a job properly. And I guess it's insulting in general to society because you're doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I have. Have you ever heard of James Lindsay?
James
Sounds
Lindsay,
familiar.
yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, he did. His channel is a bunch of 2 to 3 hour long deep dives, like tons of videos he has. But he did a deep dive on. I'm sorry. Let me finish. So tons of deep dives on Marxism and the cultural stuff and academic writers and stuff like that. And he did a series on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's basically 3 videos, one for each, one for diversity, one for equity, and one for inclusion. But they're like 3 hours each. So if you really want to go on a deep dive, and if you have like 9 hours, you can I can give you the links but I don't know if you have time until the debate.
Well, it's tonight. I have plenty of time to take a look at it.
Okay, I guess you can skip through them. I'll drop you the links, and I have to go because someone's going to come and pick me up.
Throw them in the private chat.
Like here on Streamlabs, the thing.
Yeah, you can just
private.
drop
Okay. There we go. But yeah, it's meant to. One example.
I did not originally have that take, but you're right. By forcing a bunch of different types of people together in a job, let's say it works in the military, right? Everybody goes in, you're all the same, and nobody cares about your feelings, nobody cares about what you do. You just have to work together. That's the end of it. But in a job where, and this actually, there's an extra layer of insidiousness to this, in that if I truly hate Tiki Tack's people, and he comes in and gets hired, I might quit, and then they could hire more people like Tiki Tack.
Yeah,
and literally push out all the people like me.
Well, Indians do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Indians, Muslims, they do that on purpose. Yeah,
but actually, that's to be fair, that's actually to their advantage, and they kind of should do that. Just they shouldn't be here. You know what? Right. They shouldn't be in these countries. They should do that in their own countries and prefer their own. But anyways, the example he gives one example he gives is that they have a gay guy. So they have these DEI sessions, or I forget what they're called, but they're these they take all the employees, put them all in one room, and then they're like, well, let's talk about tolerance and stuff, and let's get this guy on stage. Hey, what's up? So you're gay, right? Yeah, I'm gay, and let's just everyone just air their grievances with regards to that. Anyone in the room? Yeah, I hate gays. Well, see, that's wrong, and then they talk about being gay and stuff, and then after that meeting, what's left is this tension, right, between people, and then everyone goes to the gay guy and asks him, what's it like to do that kind of thing? What about doing that? I'm not gonna get graphic about it, but everyone asks about the graphic stuff, right? And then the gay guys, there's so much pressure on him that he fucking quits, or maybe he doesn't quit, but there's just this tension that remains, right? And they're perfectly aware of that. That's the thing that's kind of surprised me when I heard these lectures. The people who organize this stuff and who push it are perfectly aware of the result being this. Basically, you're making people hate each other.
I was actually in one of those classes. It was a big training session or whatever that everybody had to take, where it was a group about 30 people per class. And I remember this one section where they started and they basically had a stack of blank cards in the center of their desk, and basically they would ask these questions of if you've ever been discriminated against based off of your innate characteristics, such as your skin color or stuff, pick up a card. If you ever been discriminated against, based off your sexuality, pick up a card. If you come from a poor family, pick up a card. And basically they were scorecards of how impoverished you are. It's how much of a minority you are, kind of thing.
Not depressed, but
just how sad your story is.
Impoverished.
impoverished, or I don't think that would work with innate characteristics. I think there is a word for it though. But anyway,
Victim points.
yeah,
How
and
disadvantaged you are.
yeah, and the ironic part is that I was like one of the three like white guys in the classroom, and I had the highest score. Because it's like I'm sorry, like when you live in like Orange County, Orlando, Florida, the black people will call you a cracker just for looking at them weird. You know, it's like so that's racial discrimination right there. And I did come from a poor family. You know, it's like I did have like abuses throughout my family, an alcoholic father, all this kind of stuff. So my scorecard was just ticking up, and it was just like, oh, gee, okay, so this isn't a race thing. You know, it's well, even though they didn't want it to turn out that way, they wanted to essentially show that the white people are the ones who are privileged and they have to check their implicit biases.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, this is in all like corporate environments. They do this DEI training to try to say that subconsciously you're racist, and it's like no.
Would you agree that it's a ridiculous thing to do in the first place? Like at your workplace, have you pick these scorecards? Isn't that like a real weird thing to do to begin with?
Well, it's weird, and then after
like
that,
it's none of their business.
Well, even that, it also set up a bit of a toxic environment within the workplace in that because shortly after we had COVID, which then went into the BLM riots, and essentially all the people who felt like they were an oppressed minority were able to be as loud as possible about their stance with BLM. But even when I just brought up the simple mention of, well, I don't agree with them rioting. You know, it was just like, oh my God, you can't say that. You're a white guy. It's like, you don't understand the oppression we've been going through. This is just the result of decades of oppression over race. And now we're just being loud about it. And I was just like, really? So they're even like restricting my voice in a large corporate setting. And that's, I guess I can't really comment more on that because then it would start revealing into NDA type related stuff. But
Sure.
Yeah,
the culture is messed up right now.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird how they brought personal stuff into the workplace? That's basically what they did. Like that's normally stuff you wouldn't even talk about. You just talk about the job, right? And then they brought this personal stuff in there.
Yeah, and not only that, but the workplace that I worked in, it's like everybody was getting paid at least $75,000 and up. It's like not a single person in there is discriminated against or impoverished, nothing like that. It's like we're all the privileged people in that corporation.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. So I got to ask, when we think about DI, so it actually, Lord of Pies made a great point earlier that DI is not the law. DI is just simply a set of policies, and what's actually happened is the government has said you have either to get this money or to get this endorsement, to get this contract, you have to have these policies in place.
Yeah.
And so that is de facto, that is making a law. That is without making a law, they've made a law.
Well, not only that, but they get more investment money off of organizations for higher DEI scores. They get lower interest rates on loans for higher DEI scores. So it's very much profit driven. And it's, I know that the running factor of why DEI initiatives were put into place is because the more diverse the claim is the more diverse your workplace is, the higher profits you will achieve just based off that diversity. But the thing is, the reason why that these corporations are getting higher profits is because they're getting grants, they're getting investment money, and they're getting lower interest loans just based off the DEI score alone. It's not because of the diversity directly. It's not the diversity ideas that's being claimed.
I thought you were going to say that they get more money because they don't, the workers don't unionize because they don't get along with each other.
That could be true as well. The thing is
Because I
that
remember Amazon doing that. Like they hired diverse workers so they wouldn't get along with each other, so they wouldn't. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself.
it's all fine. But another, I had a thought and I lost it. But yeah, it's
Hate when that happens.
yeah, these these DEI initiatives. I don't know. It's I don't. Oh yeah. So
What would be an argument for the DEI initiatives? What if you were on the opposite side? What would you think?
well, the way that I would play it is it's probably unique to myself, and it goes into kind of like some taboo territory. But I would try to make a point to be like, hey, if corporations are allowed to discriminate based off of all these like social classes, these social metrics, in order to fit towards a higher DEI score, can I and my business strictly discriminate to only hire white men? And they would essentially say no because it's racist. But then you could prove it's like, well, it's inherently racist to be trying to hire specifically black people. And then you could try to tie it into the anti-discrimination laws that came in, or where it's like, oh, based off of your sex, gender, or racial characteristics, you cannot be denied a job specifically for that. And see about making an argument to abolish that in order to allow DEI initiatives to be inherently racist. But it's I don't know how I would play it out. It would be really taboo. They would definitely view me as a freaking racist, misogynist, whatever. But it would create a lot of drama that people like to hear. So
no, you're not wrong.
I have to go soon. Did you get the links in the private
Yes,
thing?
I've got them in the back. Thank you very much.
Okay, so those are like 9 hours of content. So I don't know. I hope you can get through them, or at least get through them.
I'll speed through them as best I can. This is not a serious debate. This is a panel debate on Prime Kai's. I'm going to destroy their entire arguments in like 12 minutes. And then and we'll spend the entire rest of the 2.5 hours. They'll just be whining about something.
Right, good luck.
Yeah, I'll see you around, Vampire Frog. Nice seeing you again.
Nice chatting with you guys.
Yeah, good talking to you. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, what was that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to bring up the key point about DEI improving profits across like corporations. So definitely work on a counter argument for that.
Has that been proven, or is that just are they just kind of?
So the thing is that you will, if you search for it, you're going to get a plethora of news articles that say that yes, it is, even in like the modern age. But it's very nuanced in the fact that, is it really because of the diversity that's attributing to that, or is it like the claims that I brought up that you get more investments, you get lower interest loans, you get government grants, so that all essentially goes towards your bottom line, and it's all merely based off just hiring diversity, not necessarily that your workforce is improving.
But does that? I mean, okay. How does that relate to profits being higher?
Well, the thing is that if you pay less on the interest on your loans, and the workforce is producing the same output, essentially, it's like inevitably you do have just a little bit more profit.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's very interesting. I don't. Hopefully, if they do bring that up, they're smart enough to understand the counter. But I don't know. That's a tough one. You've been on the panel,
Yeah. So. It's personally, like, I wouldn't fight against like DEI. That's just one of those subjects I just don't care to argue about. But these are like the small things that I do know of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird topic. It's so, they're doing it in such a way that it's so broad that I'm having I'm having a bigger issue with how broad it is. If it had been DEI as it relates to quality control or DEI as it relates to whatever, and that's narrows it, and then we can actually have a real discussion around it.
Might be able to also swing this into like a cultural argument, to be like, what kind of like culture do you want in your company? And the more diversity you have, the less culture you have. Because when you have a bunch of conflicting ideas, then nobody's going to be aligned on what the culture is.
That's true.
It's like the example that I would probably bring up on that to demonstrate it is, let's say that you have a shop and you hire a bunch of guys, because strictly it usually is just guys, and then you bring in a woman into the mix. Well, even though the culture of the men, it would still be there, they would also have to reserve themselves a lot more around women, from what they usually talk about, and that could induce a little bit higher stress in the environment. Unless it's an exceptional woman that is used to, like, men being pigs and really don't care about it. But you have to hire for that to see if they're compatible with the culture, in order for it to work out. And the more diverse ideas that you get into, the less chance that they're going to have a cohesive culture.
True. Yeah. Again, I think that's a little high line for this argument, but I like it. I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of switch gears here and go back to talking about your debate with Furby last night.
Sure.
So first of all, I want to say that I thought that you did exceptionally well at just maintaining your overall calm. I heard several times that the Furby got heated and would just start cursing, and you were just like, dude, calm down.
Well, yeah, it's because of my alcohol intake. When I don't drink, I'm really calm. When I do drink, I kind of have a I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
So, and I made sure to make it a point that I wouldn't drink, because I really did want to have a debate, just to kind of show to people that I can be good faith.
I'm going to remind you that I told you that there was no way Furby could be good faith in a debate.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's I was kind of hoping that if I was able to bring like my level of calm, that Mel would be able to kind of, tone down a bit, but it didn't really seem like that we were I don't know. It's like that we really didn't debate, plain and simple. There wasn't. And another lesson that I think Mel should take on about the sources is that, let's say that Mel did bring all the sources like a day before. You don't deliver like 30 sources. You take out like your top like 6 sources out, because if you just like take one source and say, and then have like 5 others that affirm that source, it's like that doesn't necessarily like prove anything. You should go to the one source that just has the best information you can draw from, because then it could be logically argued. It's like, if the data is worth anything, then you should be able to debate it in a logical form as well.
Yeah. But here's what I'm going to say here. Mel can't argue. Mel can argue. Mel cannot debate. I knew when you told me that you were going to do this, and I told you this was going to happen, because you were like, I'm going to prove that I'm above board. Well, you didn't say you were going to prove it, but you're like, look, I'm above board. I'm taking it seriously. I've got all my stuff lined up. And you had told me that you and Mel had been talking back and forth, having calm exchanges, and that this looked like it was going to be a great debate. And I told you then, again, Mel doesn't debate in good faith. And it doesn't matter what's going on now. There will be there'll be something happen. The reason I said that is because I've now encountered the Furby so much. The Furby, I've watched it talk to people. I've watched it attempt to engage in debates. I watched it engage with Chris
Chris Lestrange.
Strange.
Yeah.
In a debate. It did the same thing with Chris Lestrange that he did with you. There's just no point in debating the Furby. There just isn't. The Furby is, it's an interesting character, but that's it.
Yeah.
I because of the way it treated Chris, I felt like that it was probably going to try and drown you in data, because that's what it did with Chris. And it points to very specific pieces of data in very specific context. And when you point out that, hey, Louisiana is just one study, do you have anything else?
Oh, I actually I looked up a little bit more on that. So
hold on. I'm going to let you get to it, I promise. When the Furby did that, I was shocked you didn't counter out, well, if Louisiana's third, who's first and second? And what are their sex ed? I mean, you were the best well, not the best you were exceedingly generous in ways that I can't be. I can't do. I was driving down the road listening to this, and the Furby's like, well, it's number 3, and it all points to this advance in sex ed is the reason it has all this access to contraception. Well, it doesn't have better or worse access to contraception as any other state in the union. That's a fallacy. Instantly right out of the gate, like that's, who cares, Mel? That does not support your argument. If anything, it hurts your argument, and it supports your argument actually. The fact that it has all of these births could be, and you did cover this, could be all of these various things: social,
economical.
There's one that's
religion.
Religion. It starts with a C, and I can't think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it just all of these factors, all of these external factors that have nothing to do with the fact that there's sex education in the school. And you said alternative sex education. Yeah, there's churches, there's all of these outreach groups. Certainly after Katrina, that's true, right? That there's tons of outreach groups. So you were on the right path. The one thing that the Furby just was allowed to do was just keep pointing out that the number 3 was a problem, but never covered who was 1 and 2. Like, why are we not talking about who's number 1? Why are we talking about number 3? You've cherry picked this specific example because it fits your criteria, and you don't even want to talk about 1 and 2. Again, and I'm sure you know this, when you present data in this fashion, you say, okay, number 1 is California. They have a high birth rate because of a high teen pregnancy rate because there's a predominance of Latinos that are Catholic, that do not believe in contraception of any kind, and they have a strong family conviction that if they get a girl pregnant, they can marry them, and blah blah blah. You can lay a foundation for California being number 1. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that if that were the case, and you say in Tennessee, for example, if we were number 2 or number 1, you say, well, Tennessee has a long history of shotgun weddings and people getting married right out of high school and having children. So that may, just because they're teen pregnancies, that doesn't mean that they're not unwanted teen pregnancies, or that any amount of sex education would have changed anything. So that's what the Furby was. That's what the Furby's argument. The Furby did something very specific that I felt like you had a really good chance to get it off of the data a little bit or push it. But you were being very polite and very nice. I admire you for that, because I can't do that. I would have pushed the Furby so hard on the why are we talking about number 3 and not number 1 and 2.
That the thing is that sometimes I think that being too nice is like what's having me lose the debate. But once everything was said and done, it was just like,
oh no, you won. You definitely won. The Furby spurred like crazy. But it just kept trying to drown you in data that you can't vet.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing about that claim that Louisiana has like the highest teen pregnancy rate. Um, well, it's first of all, this is only 2022, 2023 data. This isn't a trend of like, over a period of like 10, 20, 30 years, which that's the data that I was trying to get across was like, okay, from year for year, do we have a continued decline? And that's what contraceptives always proved throughout. Second, um, when you look at the chart of each state, and it's all color coded, basically, the brighter it is, the more teen pregnancies they have, and you overlap it with another map that shows the abortion policy laws and restrictions, they match 1 to 1. The states that do not allow abortion have higher teen pregnancy rates,
As you would
and
expect.
yeah, and that is the direct correlate right there. It's like it is literally like color for color. They map on exactly the same. So the teen pregnancy rate has nothing to do with the availability of contraceptives or sex education. It's just plain and simple the abortion policies that are out.
Okay, yeah, I agree, and I like that. And this is what you could have been prepared for had the Furby not tried to just destroy you in data day of.
Yeah.
That's bad faith as well. I mean, and again, did the same thing with Chris. Did the same thing of fixating on very specific points, and what was interesting is that I think because the Furby was facing you and not someone else, it really wanted to it didn't want to talk about sex ed in the way that it actually means sex ed. When it's saying sex ed, what it really means is talking about gender and
Yeah, it's gender identity, sexuality,
sexuality, and
yeah.
that was a clean way of saying that. It really wants to focus on those. It's really talking about we need to teach these things. We need to discuss these things. It's not talking about health ed where where they show you how to wrap the condom on a banana and that sort of thing. That's that was an interesting thing.
Here was kind of my thought pattern on the roadmap that I kind of want to run down is that essentially I wanted to prove that the most empirical things that we could all agree on, like lowering teen pregnancy, lowering STI rates, lowering child SA, those are all things that we want to achieve. But I wanted to prove that sex ed essentially has no bearing whatsoever on influencing this. So now it becomes a neutral level. And now we're at a point where it's like, okay, maybe Mel can make an argument of, would it be better? It's like, there's at least some value we can get out of sex ed into education, which I would say yes. However, now we're moving into new territory with sexuality, gender identity, which is very ideologically driven. And there are a lot of parents that do not agree with this. So, and I believe that most of the American people don't want our tax dollars being contributed to this. So this is where I would opt that we don't have sex ed and just leave it up to the parents. It would reduce the costs on the tax burden, and it would reduce a lot of this controversy that we have within the public education system.
I agree with that. I think that's good. I think that's very accurate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to critique the debate itself. I kind of nitpicked a couple of things. I thought that the Furby was exceedingly disingenuous about, and I'm not going to do it. Overall, I thought that you were far more kind than you needed to be. I think that you really. So it became clear to me that the Furby wanted to argue, and you wanted to debate.
Yeah, it's well, this is that was actually just me in my like normal state. It's like every time that I'm on a panel and I'm running hard on people, it's because I've had something to drink.
Sure.
It's like that's the only way to get like the angry side out of me, or if it's something that I'm deeply passionate about and just know the actual facts behind what I'm arguing for.
Well, yeah. Again, it was just definitely the motivations were visible, right?
Yeah.
After you left, and Anson was up on the stage, and 10th man grilled the Furby hardcore.
I was watching quite a bit.
I
The,
was pretty impressed by that.
the thing is, when it comes to the whole like transgenderism thing, it's I have a completely different setup, or a completely different perspective
Mm-hmm.
on why we shouldn't allow the transgender healthcare or anything like that. And it kind of encompasses also like sexuality. It just the overall trend that people go towards on why transgenderism is bad is because the unaliving rates. But you see the same exact unaliving rates for the sexually promiscuous being primarily in like the homosexual communities.
Sure.
So this is where I kind of dove into the statistics on this, and it seems to be a trend where those people who are heavily like sexually promiscuous and getting into like the fetish life are engaging in same-sex same-sex intercourse. They all have high suicidality, high levels of anxiety and depression, high drug uses. It's all very consistent across the board. So I'm like, what if the mental illness is actually more of a sexual promiscuity that is just coping for something, some other underlying issues? And that's where it's like, that's my theory or take on it. So
Yeah.
there's no way I would have been able to fit that into the conversation well, because
No,
everybody would just try to spin it back.
I don't know that would have been a good one to.
Yeah, so that's why I generally just don't have comments on it, unless
Mhm.
somebody really wants to have like a good faith debate on it, because it is introducing a completely new idea that people never really thought of.
Okay. What do you think about the way that 10th man interacted with Furby?
He acted like the majority of gay guys that I know. It's like he is a gay man, the plain and simple, and that's just the kind of personality you'll get out of him.
Okay.
Yeah, so he acted as I expected.
So I hadn't actually seen that side of that, so it was interesting to me.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, at the end of the day, men are pigs, you know, and they're loud, they're lewd, and when you get a couple of gay men together, they're constantly loud and lewd with each other to the next degree because they're now sexually comfortable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you get those very like hard takes that may make people cringe.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I was. It really was interesting to me to see the 10th man kind of go after Furby, and
Well, I do think that the transgender and queer ideology kind of has hijacked the gay community, because uh, it seemed like that when the gay activism was going on between 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s, it was generally about just like equality. They wanted their own bars. They wanted to be able to live lives within society, and the biggest thing, gay marriage. And as soon as they got gay marriage, it's like, okay, there's literally nothing else they can argue for. It's like it's all said and done, and I think that's what 10th man was trying to get at, is that okay, now we have gay marriage, nobody's discriminating against gays anymore, there's nothing more to fight for. And then they got hijacked by this queer and trans ideology, which is like, no, now you have to affirm my pronouns, now we have to teach sex ed to children, now we have to affirm children's gender identity and give them experimental drugs. And it's just like, now there's a backlash against LGBTQ in general because it's what they've been locked in with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting aftermath to the debate. Again, I I understand that you guys kind of did you call it a draw or
Oh, I that was being nice.
From your point of view, where did you leave it?
I thought I lost. Well, from a public view, I did view it as a draw.
Okay.
To the public eye, myself personally, I thought I lost.
You thought you lost?
Yeah. But it's because usually when I go into debates, I also turn off chat. So because I just don't want those distractions.
Sure. I know. I 100% thought you made your points better than Mel did. 100%.
Well, it's I'm getting all that feedback now, and it's definitely building my confidence a lot more. I was thinking about quitting debating like right after that. I was just like, I'm done with it. But now this is giving me.
No, I think that you did really well. I think that, other than that, I think that there were places where you should have you should have called called it for what it was, I guess, right? Like you should have, like the thing with the why are we using number 3 instead of number 1? Why are we even using this data? Because it correlates directly with, which you did mention that it correlated directly with the abortion laws, and you didn't, and I don't know that you could have, because I don't know that in that moment you knew what you needed to know.
Yeah.
But if you did, and I don't know whether you did or not, but if you knew, or you felt strongly that it was the abortion laws that were the actual correlate and predictor, and not the sex education laws or policies, I would have fact checked that. I would have called and said, okay, you're going to have to prove to me, Mel, that this is not the case, because
I tried bringing that up
I know
about
that you
5
did.
minutes after. It's just, it got overwritten, plain and simple. The conversation overwrote everything. But yeah, it's like I should have pushed harder on it for sure.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, other than that, I mean, that's really kind of my only criticism. That and you debated Furby to start with. I will never debate the Furby at all. There's just no point in it. The Furby is absolute bad faith. I don't know how anybody could actually stream with not stream, but debate with a Furby and expect it to be anything but absolute, garbage.
Yeah.
So, I do think that I think that you were exceedingly good faith, and I think that you intended for it to be.
It is what it is, though.
Yeah, you intended it to be something that it wasn't. Are you trying to get back on the Reverie, or no?
Nah, probably not. It's just because it's like I don't really like large panel debates. It's like, unless I could just drink a bit and just be obnoxious. It's but I don't know. I definitely want to strive for more 1v1s, and I'll probably end up having to cut this stream short because I do have another meeting to get to in about.
Yeah, actually, I've got some stuff I've got to get to today, so I was actually going to end about an hour early, because I am debating tonight. I've got some stuff I've got to do before that. I've got it's spring break. My son's out of school, so he's got stuff going on.
Yeah. One last comment about the debate, though. So I found out that sex education in schools is a topic that nobody seems to be talking about right now. It might be another debate subject that somebody else wants to take on and trying to bring it in the spheres, because I think it would be a good extension of the trans narratives that's been going on. This is where we're segueing into the actual issue that the conservative side has.
Yeah. Have you watched Average Debate Enjoyer, Tyler?
No.
No. He's really good. I'm actually rewatching his video, the debate that he had with both Fabian Liberty and Rob Noor. Did the same subject, both debates, the exact same prompt, or not prompt, but the subject matter. And we're doing the same thing. He literally just sent me a message because we're doing this Wednesday,
Yeah.
and he just sent me a message and he said, I had a lot of fun watching content of you and Andrew and Red Pill Religious People to learn what makes you tick culturally and adapting my argument around that. I was like, all right. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. Hey Michelle, how are you? I didn't see Michelle come in. Michelle's got the keys too. But it is interesting. He sent me over his whole argument.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna actually go through his whole argument and go through and like come up with my counters. He's like, he thought he had sent it to me already. He's like, I asked him, I'm like, hey, I was wondering if you're going to actually send it, because some people say things and they never do it. And he's like, no, my bad. As you can see, I'm making a based as fuck argument. Like, he's full of himself. But that's one of the things that I like about him. And this is one of the best parts. We're talking about it. He's like, the docs are about 90% done. That was last week or so. And he's like, you can pretty much, you can get pretty much what my argument is. And this thing is tailored for a Trump loving right-wing Christian audience. So you better come correct, because I might fucking change your mind here if I play my cards right. And I'm like,
sounds like it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a great argument. And, and he says, I had said, looking forward to it. And he's like, sounds awesome. And prepare yourself for the ultimate in good faith, Reddit tier, try hard, subject based debate, where the only thing I say about your character is my appreciation for spending time on this. Also for the show, I just need a little advance is all. He's talking about coming on the show before the debate. This is the kind of person you got to debate, Ticky Tack.
Yeah.
You got to quit debating, psychopaths on the internet.
Yeah.
Now this guy's probably a psychopath, but he's a polite psychopath. And,
yeah. And that I could deal with. That I could work with.
Right? Yeah, like you could deal with that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. I get it. You're and so far so good. It looks like everything's going to be legit. We're going to do that Wednesday night on this channel. Andrew Wilson is moderating. As far as I know, if not, I've got Rob Noor as the backup, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be
awesome.
Just amazing. I think it's going to be a great debate.
Agree. It's going to be a great show.
And I think we've agreed on 10-minute opening statements, total 3 hours, just normal. So it might be 2 hours, and then we'll do the call-ins or something. But yeah,
that would be cool. I'll definitely be there to watch.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you being in there, and it would be cool. I think you do really well on the DEI argument if Prime hasn't already reached out to you. So, if you want to, I don't know that you want to do panel debates anymore. I'm getting kind of tired of the panel debate. I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to, and I much prefer the 1v1 debate.
Yeah, I'll say the reason why I go on to like Sarah's panel is because she allows me to yell at people. She allows me to drink and get into the really hard, just obnoxious, bad faith arguments. But generally, I'm doing that because it puts on a show, And I know sometimes that those panels can get a little bit dry. So I'm just like, I want to just stir things up a bit.
Dude, Prime loses his mind all the time. That's honestly the only real reason I continuously go back on the Reverie is, first of all, because I like hanging out with Scott, and Scott and I will occasionally start our own sidebar.
Yeah,
and that's fun. But Prime just spurgs so hard, and I'm getting kind of I'm kind of getting it like the balance of keeping him from spurging too hard. Yeah. So, but yeah, so the schedule is tonight Prime, tomorrow night nothing because I don't normally do anything on Tuesday. There is somebody's asked me to do something, but it's not confirmed, and I'm not going to say anything about it till it is. And then we're going to do the debate with Tyler Wednesday night and the normal show time. Thursday night, I'm trying to set up again. I'm trying to set up someone from the firearms community again, or I might have Keita back. Did you catch the show with Keita?
No, I haven't.
It's really good. But the interesting thing is like Steve talks like 2.5 hours and she was barely able to get a word in edgewise. So she's, I asked her, like, I was like, hey, it's great having you on the following day. She's like, yeah, I didn't realize that Steve was going to talk for 2.5 hours before I could even get a word in. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way it is. So, but I may have her back on. We'll see. And then if not, probably it'll be. I may reach out to some people in the shooting community and try and get. I'd really like to get Max Leograndis on, but he's really hard to get a hold of. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a cool week. Friday, Saturday, I'm not really sure about yet, but you know how it is.
Well, as
Friday
usual,
will
I'll be hanging around.
Saturday will be the trash talk extravaganza, where we'll talk about all the people. We'll talk about how bad each debate was,
mm-hmm.
and all the other garbage. And you should come on. Probably you should come on. You should come on Thursday afternoon again. You should. I don't know what your schedule is this week, but it'd be cool if you can come on.
Yeah, it's like I'll keep that in mind. It's my schedule's usually open. It's just that I like to plan like a day ahead on anything. So
yeah. That's why
I'll note it. Yeah.
I've got a couple of other debates in the works. Just not really sure where we're going to go with that. And I think Jake VOPod is going to has some debate in the works, and if so, I think I may moderate it. He had talked to me about that. I'm not sure if it's still on or what his plan is, but I was going to moderate that. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I think I'm getting. Yeah, I'm going to have to get. I got to get out of here for an hour. I was supposed to get out of here an hour early. An hour ish is fine, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming up, man. I really appreciate it, and it was good to talk to you about the debate with the Furby. Yeah, again, you approached it much more calmer than I thought you were going to, and it's very interesting. So
sweet. I appreciate the feedback.
It was overall a good debate. Thank you. I just knew Furby was going to be bad faith. I just knew that I knew two things going in. You were going to be on the best faith because you felt like this was a big deal, and Furby was going to be on its worst faith because that's just what it does. So,
yeah. Well, thanks a lot. I'm going to hop off. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I'm going to do you want to do an outro? Do you have a channel you want to promote or?
No, it's like I don't have enough time to be managing a channel, but just find me on the debates, support me during then, and I'll support other content creators.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, cool, man. Good to see you.
Yeah,
have a good time, man. All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to have to get out of here a little early today. My son's got spring break this week, so. We're trying to get a bunch of stuff done. We may take the boat to the lake and do some fishing. Ticky Tack obviously had a great debate with the Furby, and it was like I said, there was just a few things where he should have really held the feet to the fire, and he didn't, and that's okay. it looks like something's been going on in the chat. I got a couple of DMs and that sort of thing. Let me see what's going on here. Kind of nonsense. Ava, I'm craving a daily dozen. I don't eat donuts that much, actually. Thank you for whatever. Michelle, mocking therapy is still crying in comment sections. Tell me how that's working. Yeah, okay. A lot of people crying in the comment. Yeah. Yeah. Ava's like the most mid or under mid, beneath mid, somewhere far below mid person I've ever talked about. I get donuts. I don't have any donuts. I haven't had donuts in a while though. Maybe we should get some donuts. I don't know. Accusing anyone you don't know of lacking emotional intelligence is like a toddler critiquing calculus. Depends on who you're critiquing and why. Yeah. Michelle, it's been a while. Do you want to come up and chat for a few minutes before I have to go? You don't have to, but you can. No? You headed out soon? Me too. And we got to get the boat ready and head to the lake. Get out on the lake, wet some line, maybe catch a fish or two or three, maybe a dozen. You never know. That's what's up. So. Yeah, thanks, Agoropolis. I will. All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be as busy a week as some weeks are. Obviously, tonight, the debate on Prime Kai at the Reverie shouldn't be a big deal. This is an easy one. But we'll see. You never know. It can go sideways because we could like blow this topic out in like 2 or 3 minutes and then come back through and with some weird ass topic and and then it gets interesting. We'll see. Tomorrow, nothing. I don't stream on Tuesdays generically unless something big's going on. There is something that's kind of in the works. We'll see. Wednesday night, average debate enjoyer. It's going to go down. It's going to be a tremendously awesome debate with a tremendously awesome opponent. And glad to have that debate go down. Thursday afternoon will be the day shift, basically this show, except without the debate prompt stuff probably. And the after that, Thursday night, we'll see. Hopefully I'll have a special guest. Maybe I'll do a show Thursday night. Maybe I won't. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday nights as normal. And it's going to be a great week. Enjoy yourselves. It's going to be awesome. It's really going to be cool. I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but, it'll be great. And, it's going to be cool. In the meantime, I do have to go. I'm going to go do stuff. And as always, remember, be cool, wear glasses if you need them, and get